accusing the victims for the crimes of the aggressor.
Except the fact that you are literally the aggressor. You are not the victim here. You are the aggressor. Your culture came from a foreign land. Arabism came from the Arabian Peninsula. Hello, my friends. I am coming to you after a full day of filming out with Arabs and Palestinians here in Israel. I'm tired, but we got some next level bullshackery from Sky News. Speaking to a Hamas official, diplomatic official, but a terrorist in hiding. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, the interview is with the interview is with Dr. Bassem Naim. Let's go.
Dr. Naim, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. It's been 405 days since the war in Gaza began, and there doesn't seem to be an end to the conflict. We've seen the way Gaza has been completely devastated and the impact on the people of Gaza. We're also seeing that the Israeli hostages haven't been released, the ones who remain in Gaza at the moment.
Correct.
The ceasefire discussions have also gone nowhere. Can you just give us an update on where things are at as far as the ceasefire is concerned?
Thank you very much. The last well-defined broker deal was the deal of July 2nd. It was discussed in all details, and I think we were near to go for a ceasefire, to reach a ceasefire which can end this war, go for a permanent ceasefire and total withdrawal and prisoner exchange. Unfortunately,
notice how there's no talks about how the Palestinians will reform or Hamas will reform. It's just like, get out of Gaza, let us go back to doing exactly what we were doing before. And you'll see this carry on in the continuation of this interview.
Netanyahu preferred to go the other way. He committed at least 2-3 big massacres in Mawasi Khan Yunis, in Gaza City, and then finally he assassinated our top leader, Ismail Haniyeh.
Our top leader, Ismail Haniyeh, a terrorist that has stolen billions of dollars from the Palestinian people and was living in Qatar in a hotel. That's your top leader. And that's something that we should be ashamed of as Israel, is assassinating this person. That's what killed the deal.
We didn't receive any serious proposals.
But Dr. Naim, you say the Americans are not serious, the Israelis are not serious, but Qatar, the country that is mediating between both sides, the Israelis and Hamas, also say that Hamas is not being serious.
I think the last...
What is this question, Hamas is being... Hamas is nothing at this point. Hamas is literally just a manipulated side of the Palestinian violent jihadi ideology. That's what Hamas is. Hamas can't be serious at this point, which is amazing. We've pushed them into a corner as Israel, into a place where they can't be serious anymore. There's not really anybody to negotiate with anymore.
The press statement of the spokesperson of the Minister of Foreign Affairs here, Qatar, was clear that they are not ready to allow anyone to use the negotiations to continue the war and the aggressions.
But they're frustrated with your side as well.
No. I can mention now a lot of...
Mind you this, okay? Palestinian, this is a problem with the wider Arab Muslim world. You cannot admit that you're wrong. You cannot admit that you've made a mistake, and you're going to see this trend. You cannot say sorry, no remorse, no apologies, no wrong, no. And this is why the wider Arab world looks the way that it does. I preach this in so much of my content. If you can't admit that you made a mistake, you can't learn from it. You can't get better as a person, as a society, if you can't admit your faults. And you'll see here, we've never done anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. Okay, and I just want to clarify something. Dr. Bassem Naim, right here, that you guys can see, he still claims till this day, okay, that Hamas did not kill any innocent civilians. So you can see this is from Wikipedia. Anybody could look this up. October 2023, while acting as Hamas's representative in Moscow, Bassem participated in a delegation led by senior Hamas members holding talks on foreign hostages in Gaza. In an interview with Sky News, Naim said that Hamas did not kill civilians. He claims still till today that Hamas fighters haven't committed any crimes. So murdering a bunch of people on the Nova Music Festival, flying in on a paraglider and shooting at innocent civilians, all the footage evidence that you have of SA, of people having RPGs shot through their front windshield just driving around in their neighborhood, of shooting and killing dogs. None of that is war crimes. name with evidence that hundreds of civilians have been killed in October 7th attack. They just denied outright. That's the person who they're talking to. Okay, I just want, if you're wondering on his status because he's wearing a suit and he has his nice little Palestinian flag thing and there's a nice set, if you're wondering if this man is a terrorist or not, he is a terrorist. He's a terrorist that Sky News was able to sit down with, but don't get it twisted. This is a terrorist.
Occasions where the Qataris, the Egyptians, and including, by the way, the Americans, Antony Blinken himself, where he said that Hamas was positive, Hamas was constructive.
We're 13 months into this conflict and more than 43,000 Palestinians have been killed.
I just want to say also from Sky News' perspective, continuing to propagate this number, 43,000 killed, without making any discrepancy between a Hamas fighter, militant, and an innocent civilian is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And if you're going to already propagate the 43,000 number, I'm fine. Do it. But make sure that you're saying that it's coming from Hamas. You have to say that. You have to at least put a subtitle on screen. You can't just say 43,000 people have been killed in Gaza. What is this? You don't make any discrepancy between women, child, and a Hamas fighter? At least have respect for the so-called, there's so many innocent civilians in Gaza. Let's at least have some form of respect for these people, no?
100,000 injured or missing. We've seen Gaza completely flattened. Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of the political office here, killed. Yahya Sinwar killed. Would you say that what happened a year ago,
this
on
is the
October
best part of the
7th,
interview,
was a massive disaster for Hamas, for the Palestinian people,
mistake,
given that this is the outcome?
I think you can say this only in one case. If the Palestinians were living in their own state, independent state, free,
but it wasn't like this.
free in a dignified life. But you have to remember that the Palestinians,
in essence, remember they were nice luxury hotels. There were BMWs and Lamborghinis driving around Gaza. There were billions of dollars invested into this place. They do not believe this stupid concentration camp lie that they say that they were living in an open air prison, because they absolutely were not. There were certain rules placed on them by Israel and by Egypt because they kept trying to do terrorism. Not just Hamas, but innocent Palestinian civilians. Don't let anybody lie to you on this case as if they weren't living under their own control. They were governed by their own. They were living on their own. Nobody was occupying them. Nobody was bothering them. They could have built Singapore there. Always remember that, with the amount of money that was poured into that place.
Suffering an occupation for 76 years, that between 2000 and 2023, 20,000 Palestinians killed, that Gazans were suffering of a suffocating siege for more than 17 years. I mean, the Israelis were declaring publicly their plans to annex the West Bank, to Judaize Jerusalem, to expel the Palestinians.
Do you think, though?
I mean, October 7th was...
Like, literally every single one of his points is propaganda from the pro-Palestine side of, like, brain-dead imbeciles. There's no ethnic cleansing or expelling of Palestinians happening. Their numbers have grown tenfold since 1948 in their ancestral homeland. In Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel proper, there are 6 million Palestinians. There's only 7 million Jews. Only 7. There's only a 1 million difference, and the Palestinian population numbers are growing faster than the Jewish. That is not an ethnic cleansing. You can't expel that population, and there's no genocide happening. That's already proven, taken off the table.
Simply an act of defense, because what we have seen on a daily basis, what the Israelis planning is to expel the Palestinians and to deny their right of exist.
This man is a liar.
In the history of this conflict, we have never seen the death toll reach this level, the level that we have seen in the course of the last year. Do you think that your actions further triggered the escalation of the things that we're seeing?
It is exactly as if you are accusing the victims for the crimes of the aggressor.
Except the fact that you are literally the aggressor, except for the fact that nobody was attacking you on October 6th. You decided to do an unprovoked assault on innocent civilians, murdering 1,200 civilians. You are not the victim here. You are the aggressor. Your culture came from a foreign land. Arabism came from the Arabian Peninsula. There were no Arabs here circa 800 years ago. There was no such thing. Nobody called themselves an Arab here. And even then, nobody called themselves a Palestinian. Palestinians are a new ideology, new on the block. Islam is not from here. You don't get to just come colonize a piece of land and then sit there and claim you're the victim. You are not the victim, you are the aggressor, but you cannot claim any fault. You don't accept any fault on yourself. You never want to learn, so you'll never be able to get better.
Your movement launched an attack on Israel that left 1,200 dead and several hundred people who weren't in the military, innocent civilians, women and children, taken into Gaza.
Mostly women and children.
You launched an attack which triggered the events of the last year.
No, I am sure this is, again, the same Israeli propaganda and narrative.
What a fucking asshole. What an idiot. What do you mean, no? This is my problem with these people, and the problem is that the wider world is going to believe this shit. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Where is the fact checking? Where is the text on screen from Sky News saying this is a lie? Factually, this man is lying to you right now. Where is that? I also have a bone to pick with Sky News. They called this video senior Hamas official. We are ready to secure a ceasefire immediately. I left a comment because I thought it was more accurate. The way you titled this video is shameful. It should have been called senior Hamas official. We regret nothing, because that is what he's doing. That is what he is doing here.
That as if the history started on October 7th. You have to remember that 1 week before October 7th, hundreds of Palestinians were killed.
No, Habibi, the history started way before. You want to start at the Hebron massacre of 1939? You want to start at the Safada massacre of 1939, where Palestinian Arabs, just Arabs of the region decided to massacre Jews all willy-nilly? How far back do you want to go? Do you want to go to the long list of over 20 massacres that have been committed here since the 6th century by Arabs, by Muslims towards Jews? When did history start, Habibi? Did it start when the Arabs colonized this land? You tell me, where are we starting history? Do we start history at 1948? So it's the history just starts at 1948. Nothing happened prior, right? Absolute bullshit.
The borders in the Gaza Strip, suffocating borders. People were starving in the Gaza Strip. People were dying because of absence of medicine.
So no regrets.
By the way, something to keep in mind. Hamas is the reason why any people were dying before October 7th in the Gaza Strip. Israel and United Nations and the UNRWA had been supplying copious amounts of money, food, medicine towards the Gaza Strip. The humanitarian issues that were in the Gaza Strip were solely in the hands of Hamas because they had insisted on selling the products that they received from international organizations, piling up the money, sending it off to a foreign nation, to Qatar, piling it up in Iran, and not purposing the aid that they were receiving towards their people. With the amount of money that was dumped into the Gaza Strip, that was wasted, your money, people, your money from taxpayers all over the world, especially you Westerners that are watching this video, because I know my analytics, most of you guys are in the UK, in America, in Canada, and Australia. Your tax dollars were sent to these motherfuckers who stole the money, took it away to a different nation so they could live a lavish lifestyle. And now he's coming on here and pretending as if the Jews or the Israelis stole the money from them. Bullshit. Go watch videos of what Gaza looked like before October 7th. Go watch. It's publicly available. You can look it up on YouTube. You can go see a walkthrough of somebody walking through Gaza City. You'll see it's no concentration camp.
October 7 whatsoever.
Do you believe that
Here we go.
medicine...
So no regrets about October 7 whatsoever.
Do you believe that a prisoner who is knocking the door...
Not a prisoner.
...or who is trying to get out of the prison, he has to regret his will to be... This is part of our dignity. Our dignity to defend ourselves.
Your dignity is not to rape and sexually assault people.
Just bring to your attention a new Human Rights Watch report that was published earlier, which accuses Israel of committing crimes against humanity and forced displacement of people. I presume that you are agreeing with them when it comes to this assessment. But that same organization has accused you, Hamas, of carrying out war crimes, as well as crimes against humanity, killing civilians, and then keeping the hostages as well. Why won't you release the hostages?
First of all, we have from day one, day two, we have stated clearly and publicly that we are ready to release our prisoners. But these hostages, the so-called Israeli hostages.
I mean, they're women, children as well.
The so-called Israeli hostages, Kfir Bibas, Ariel Bibas, the whole Bibas family, kids that went into captivity before they were the age of 1. They celebrated their first birthday in a tunnel. God knows if they're even still alive. God forbid, hopefully they are. Underground in a tunnel in Gaza. and they're so-called Israeli hostages. Get the fuck out of here, you disgusting human being. This is a horrible human being. This is a shameful, disgusting human being that's in this interview.
We are considering them as captured Israeli prisoners anyway, regardless of the definition. But at the same time, you have never asked me, including most of the Western media, about thousands and thousands of Palestinians
I've asked Israeli officials about this.
Okay, therefore I say we are ready to release all these captured Israelis if they are ready to release our children, women.
So let me just, for those of you guys who feel like you listen to this and you're like, that's a fair argument, release prisoners for prisoners, right? One, prisoners on their side, the ones that Israel is holding, are people like Yehia Sinwar. Yehia Sinwar was released in a prisoner exchange deal. One Israeli soldier that was captured in Gaza, Gilad Shalit, in 2011, was released for a couple thousand Palestinian prisoners. Don't quote me on the number. I might be getting that wrong. Yehia Sinwar, the leader of Hamas who planned the October 7th massacre, and before that was known as the Butcher of Khan Yunis, who killed more Palestinians than Israelis in his whole life. He literally murdered thousands of people. He's responsible for thousands of deaths. He was one of these innocent Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. What's the reason that they want Palestinian prisoners out of Israeli jails? They need more fighters. This organization's in the dumps. It's in the toilet. They want more people they could radicalize to keep attacking Israel, and they want people from the inside. You think they're not communicating with their people in there? Those are just sleeper cells. Those are soldiers sitting in Israeli prisons. Israel would be absolutely stupid to release more Palestinian violent offenders, terrorists, from their prisons back into Gaza. What's going to happen? The cycle continues. You can't break the cycle. If you keep flooding Palestine, if you keep flooding Gaza with more extremist Palestinians, those guys are in jail for a reason. Israel, as much as you may not believe this against popular belief, Israel doesn't just go all willy-nilly and arrest random Palestinians the way this guy is about to lie to you and tell you they do. Usually, these Palestinians, and sometimes, unfortunately, they're under the age of 18, they're 14, they're 12, they're 11. They throw rocks, they try to stab, they try to kill, they try to do, and there's tons of video evidence for most of these kids that are in jail or adults that are in jail. There's video evidence of why they got arrested in the first place. But to these people, it's just a number. They're just trying to pull at your heartstrings. They're just saying we've got thousands of Palestinian prisoners. Most of them are innocent. It's absolute bullshit. Do not buy it for one moment.
Thousands of minors are still in Israeli jails. Some of our brothers and sisters are now for
that you brainwashed to kill people.
Jails. The Western media were not talking about this, about them like you are talking now about the Israeli hostages. We are ready to go immediately for a ceasefire.
You're not, and you haven't been.
To go for a serious prisoner exchange to get our brothers and sisters free.
Well, I guess what the Israelis would say is that these civilians were sleeping in their beds, and some of the Palestinians in their prisons are people who have committed crimes.
I hope you can read. At the same time, you are mentioning human rights organizations like Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch, that you can also go through a lot of Israeli human rights organizations like Beit Salem and others.
Again, does this sound familiar?
How the Israelis,
like all the pro-Palestinian conspiratorial side, Hannibal Directive, Israelis just kill their own civilians, just steal babies. It's all anti-Semitic tropes. Yes, this is a descendant line of anti-Semitic tropes that came from Haj Amin al-Husseini, who was best friends with Hitler, okay, the Palestinian Grand Mufti, the first leader of Palestine. All of this is anti-Semitic tropes that have been brought down lineage by lineage, 3 generations, 4 generations, and here we are. This is the product of what that looks like. This is the exact product. This is it. All he's saying right here is just repeating more anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, Palestinian propaganda, and all it's there for is just to further the goal of killing Jewish people. It really is. If you look at the core of it, why is he saying the things that he's saying? He's just trying to get the upper hand so he can then go ahead and murder more Jewish people. Don't believe me? He denies that any innocent civilians were killed on October 7th. He denies it.
2 a.m. Children under house arrest, women, men. Do you believe that these thousands of Palestinians in Israeli jails all of them are freedom fighters? Most of them are innocent Palestinians.
That's not true.
Dr. Naim, I want to ask you about the change in government in the United States. We're seeing the Biden administration depart, and we're seeing President Donald Trump, who's now president-elect. What message do you have to him, and are you worried that he's going to take an even more hardline approach to the situation with the Palestinians?
Look, first of all, which president the American elect, this is their decision. This is not our business who is the president of the United States of America. But our message is clear. We are people who are looking for a better future. We are looking
Not
to
you.
secure
You are a
a
terrorist.
dignified, prosperous future for our children.
Not you.
Therefore, we are calling
You
any
destroyed
president,
your people's
including
home.
Donald Trump.
And you guys
his
hid under tunnels and stole their money. You do not want peace. You want war.
administration to take the needed steps to stop this aggression, to stop this war immediately. We are ready to go for a ceasefire deal.
Bullshit.
Dr. Naeem, thank you so much for your time.
Bullshit. Dr. Bassem Naeem, and I don't think this message will ever reach you, but if it does reach you, because people like you guys don't look at critical messages on yourself. You guys don't look at videos criticizing yourself because you live in a fucking bubble. You live in a bubble so far up your own ass that you can't take one hint of criticism to understand that you are a corrupt, disgusting human being. Dr. Bassem Naeem, you are a terrorist. You do not deserve access to even be speaking to Western media. You should be shunned out of society, you should be blocked, and you should be forgotten about for the rest of history. That is the truth of what the situation is right now. Dr. Bassem Naeem, you are a Nazi. You are the modern manifestation of a Nazi. The same ideology that came about 100 years ago is reborn within you. Wear it with pride. Don't hide it like a fucking, I don't want to say the word. Don't hide it like that. And be clean about it. Be open about it. And don't come onto Sky News pretending like you guys are some sort of innocent organization that just wants to do a prisoner exchange for your innocent Palestinian prisoners. Screw you. And screw everybody who surrounds themselves with you, and screw your organization. We are leaving you in the dust. Arabs and Jews are holding hands together in unity against you and your disgusting bullshit. And we are ready to move past it to make a better life for all of us, for Israelis, for Jews, for Palestinians. We don't want you involved in our future anymore. You are our aggressors. You are our oppressors, and you will be forgotten about. Amen. You will be forgotten about forever. You will be just a little blimp in history. That's all you'll ever be. Guys, I love you a long time. Support the channel by buying some merchandise at travelingclad.com, supporting me in a bunch of different ways, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you a long time. Goodbye, Clads.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to monetarily support the channel. Some of the best ways to support me happen to be PayPal, buy me a coffee, or joining our Patreon community. Links to them can be found in the pinned comments or the description of every one of my videos. Joining my Patreon community gives you access to exclusive content and the chance to talk to me on our Discord server. I also go live almost every day here on YouTube. And after my live streams, me and my patrons from Patreon head over to our Discord server to an exclusive after-party hangout. Your support is the only way that I can keep creating the content that you love watching for me. Thank you.